I just wanted to start off by saying that, I want to thank everyone for being here. This is a project that's been going on long before I was even elected to office. Councilor Benton was instrumental in trying to secure some of the dollars to get this done. I know that the county, actually, if you're familiar with the project, what happened was the county was able to secure dollars to get Atrisco done with curb and gutter and repaving and sewer, which was incredible. And so the county completed their project years ago, and then there's a gap. And as many folks know, that the city and the county, there's a lot of checkerboard in my district. So one side of the street could be county, one part of the street can be county, and then you continue driving, and then the other part turns into city. It's a very unique district in that aspect. And I just really want to thank Commissioner Quezada for really partnering to try to address some of these challenges that we have in order to move forward as a city and a county as we grow. I think the example of the partnership that we've been able to develop is going to be instrumental as we move forward. So I just want to thank you, Commissioner. And I want to thank Mr. Cog too. I think when I came in, what was happening was I met with Leslie, some folks from Wilson and Company, and there was this stall and delay. So the county had finished their part, and the city had to finish from Hooper to May, and it was just there. I was hearing from constituents as soon as I was elected. It was something that the constituents really in this area wanted to have addressed. And obviously it's right in the middle of our great church that we have here, Holy Family Church, so all the parishioners coming here. We're driving through the county and having this nice paved street, and then all of a sudden there's this gap, and this is the city's part. So there's some delay in some of the negotiations, but working with Mr. Cog, we were the Middle Rio Grande Conservancy. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Actually partnering with them. Yeah. And so we were able to solidify those agreements, move this project along because the funding was there. Like I said, met with Leslie and lots of constituents from the community. And then there was another delay along the line. We had the art project come along. So, that was something that we didn't, it wasn't because of the art project, but it was because we just didn't want to obstruct traffic any further for the residents in this area. So with that, the project's completed. It looks amazing. I have Mr. Carrillo. He said he was going to be here this morning. He's a neighbor he's one of the ones that called me when I was first elected and was really concerned about it. And he actually is the one that informed me that the project started. And then he called me a few weeks ago and said it's done, So I'm really pleased. That's very telling of the community that really cares about their district. And obviously, we have a new mayor who's come in, and I'm so glad that he's here to celebrate this with us. I've really enjoyed working with him and knowing that he's really also concerned about some of the issues that we have in our community. We've already got some projects that we have coming on board, and he's been very supportive. So with that, I want to introduce our Mayor Keller.
Thank you. Well, one of the things you get to do as a new mayor is show up at stuff you had actually nothing to do with. So thank you for giving me something to celebrate. But I did want to make sure and come here and share a few things. Number one, our DMD department has a new director. That's the department who actually does the actual work. And so I want to make sure and just highlight Pat Montoya right here. Mr. Montoya, thank you, Pat, for closing the deal on this one. And the other thing I want to share with you is this. This project is indicative of two things that the new administration is very interested in. The first thing is dealing with our ADA compliance all over Albuquerque. And so if you look at how we've done the curbing and so forth, it has the appropriate ADA compliance. As folks might remember, there was a report done that showed that by and large, like 70% of Albuquerque is out of compliance. In fact, the cost is so high that it's going to take us decades to catch up. But I'm proud to say that, at least for this stretch of Atrisco, we've done it right. And as we slowly move through all our capital projects throughout the city, we're going to make sure that everything's ADA compliant. And so it's good to see that we're starting here, and we're going to do that in every project going forward. The second thing I want to highlight is how we're prioritizing our capital projects going forward. This was the first year that City Council supported an initiative that we put forth to actually prioritize our historically underinvested in neighborhoods. So we are going to start prioritizing capital projects based on need as opposed to evenly splicing them up around 9 council districts. And so this is a good example of an area that could use a lot more city investment, because historically there hasn't been as much as other parts of town. So we're going to try and really change that up as a city, and I want to thank our councilors, both of them up here, who voted for that. That is a different way of doing things in our city, and I think it's something that's long overdue. And so we're looking forward to more of this in years to come. And thank you, councilors, for stepping up for this project, and of course the county. So the last thing I want to share with you is this. We are starting a great relationship with the county, and it goes from our CAO to the county manager to our city attorney's office and the county attorney's office to even the elected officials working together. This is something that in this community we've had for a long time, thanks to Commissioner Quezada and our councilors. But we need to have it in the rest of the city, and that's what we're also committed to doing. We are one Albuquerque, whether we work for the county or the city, and we want to make sure that people feel that when they work with the city and the county, and that from a citizen's perspective, there really is no difference. And we can actually do that by working together on projects like this. So thank you so much, county and city. And now we're going to hear from Councilor Ike Benton.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, so for 2 entire city council terms, I did represent this area and really made many great friends in the near North Valley and Atrisco. And yes, when I came to office, this area was subject to flooding. There's so many factors. It's the Conservancy, it's a MAFCA, it's the city, it's the county, and it's emblematic of the challenges we face in these shoestring areas. And you know, it's unfortunate that we developed the way we did with these very arbitrary boundaries, but this is one community, and it's a great, proud community. And the fact, I was honestly, Councilor Peña, shocked to be invited to this, because I had assumed that we would have gotten it done by now. And I just want to talk briefly about the same thing that the mayor was talking about, equity. And I was the sponsor of that amendment, and I really appreciated the support of the administration on that amendment. And we've got to talk about equity more. That has to do with old infrastructure, and where we have the oldest infrastructure, we should, you know, make very clear that these are our priorities. Secondly, and just as an aside, right, the councilors that voted against are from the places with really nice roadways and really nice and brand new infrastructure. That was interesting the way that vote went down. Just a thought there. But anyway, the importance of working with the county is so great, and that's another area where we're trying to improve. We're trying to improve with behavioral health. We're trying to improve with transportation. I really appreciate the emphasis the county. It was really the leader on complete streets policy for the county and for the region, and I was happy to tag along with that with some legislation of our own, where we actually have an ordinance requiring acknowledgement of all users of the roadway, and that means people who need to walk and may have to walk and may have no choice but to walk, or who choose to cycle or may have no choice but to cycle because they can't afford a car, or they may have a record for which they cannot get a license. So everybody is part of the user of the roadway. We all own it, and we need to make it for everyone. And I appreciate the county's leadership on that, and working with Commissioner Quezada on the Sunport Boulevard, Woodward extension, and really looking at how that's going to affect the neighborhoods that adjoin it. So it's a great example as well. So congratulations for everybody. I'm sorry for saying I'm sorry that it took so long, but I think we all agree on that. So anyway, thanks.
So as the counselor mentioned, I think we're really excited about, these newly kind of redeveloped relationships that we have. As he mentioned, it shouldn't have taken this long, and hopefully moving forward, these things aren't going to happen because I completed my first term, got reelected, and we're breaking ground now, and this is one of my first meetings that I had. But with that, I want to introduce Commissioner Quezada. He's relatively new to the area, but born and raised, and he's walked the fields and the ditches of this area for many years, so he's real familiar with the needs. So the partnership was very simple as when he became elected, because he understands and knows the issues that we are facing here. So with that, Commissioner Quezada.
Thank you. Thank you all for showing up this morning. It's a great, beautiful morning here in Albuquerque, and welcome to District 2 of Bernalillo County. I'm the County Commissioner for District 2. I grew up just down the road over here at the bottom of Pat Hurley. And so what the county has done from this point going to bridge when it comes to infrastructure with drainage and sewer, and doing all the things that the mayor spoke about earlier. That's important for flood zones. It affects how people live. It affects how they pay insurance on their homes. All these things that we're really trying to fix here in the South Valley, we've been able to do that. So as a kid, when it used to rain right here at this intersection of the church, this was actually the first pool we had in the South Valley. So if you live in this area, you know what I'm talking about. This was a big, huge flood zone for many, many years. And because of this new infrastructure, it's not that anymore. It's done properly. And this is definitely a collaboration between the county and the city. And that is something that's very important from my office, and it seems to be very important now coming out of the city's side. So we're really excited about doing really great things. I know my staff gets nervous when I don't follow the script because of my profession, and they're afraid I might say something that will actually make the news. But just kidding, don't get mad. So I want to give a couple of numbers. What we did here and the portion that we did costed Bernalillo County $850,000, and that's just this section. So I just wanted to give you these numbers so you kind of get a sense of what it costs just to do small bits and pieces of such a large district. And so, like Councilor Peña said, that we have a long way to go. And we got to do it piece by piece, but as long as we keep moving forward, we will eventually get there. I believe the mayor understands that mission. He's behind that mission. And again, we're very excited to open this road, and we're very excited for all the neighbors who live along this area to finally have a nicely, beautifully paved street with drainage. They're so happy, and I'm so happy to be here this morning to celebrate with them. And congratulations to everybody who did the work. I know that things don't happen by one person or by one entity. It happens, it's a team effort from a lot of different people. And I'd like to thank everybody here who's standing behind me here today for their efforts. And we really appreciate it down here in the South Valley. Thank you so much.
So with that, I have Pat Montoya from DMD, but just as everyone else mentioned, just really want to thank everyone. I'd like for somebody from the Middle Rio Grande Conservancy to come out and say a couple of words, and somebody from Wilson and Company. And in particular, I want to thank Moby Mersa. He's the project manager for this, and I've worked with Moby over the years on a whole host of projects, and he's always very, very thorough and does a great job by the constituents of District 3. And as Commissioner Quezada just mentioned, we are in the midst of District 2. I just happen to be District 3 is just part of a little tiny island in this general area, so it's real interesting how this all pans out. So, Mr. Montoya.
Good morning. I want to thank the mayor and both councilors and the commissioner for attending this event this morning. Very quickly, I just wanted to announce that this project was right at $2.85 million, and we were right at budget, just a little bit under. We're happy about that. The better part about it is that we completed it 1.5 months earlier than it was scheduled to be completed. So this was both on budget and under our expected time, so we're quite pleased with that. We definitely want to thank the church for their cooperation, especially Father Patrick Schaefer and Geraldo Madrid. They were instrumental in allowing us to use office space and the halls here for our meetings and to stage some of the equipment while the construction was going on. So on behalf of the city, we want to thank the church and all of the parishioners. I know it was a long project, it inconvenienced folks at many times, but we have a finished project that we're very, very happy with, so we want to thank you for that. And then finally, Mayor, we have a great DMD department. I'm very pleased and honored that you appointed me to this position. We've got a great staff, several of the employees that are out there now, but there's 3 individuals I'd like to recognize, and I'd like to, Moby was already recognized, but very instrumental as the project manager. Moby and I have worked together many years, and I'm just very elated and pleased with your ability to manage projects in a very efficient way, and your communication skills with not only the public but with other employees within the department, so thank you for that. I'd like to acknowledge one of the deputy directors for the department, Melissa Lozoya. Also, she was the acting director for DMD, so this project was sort of spearheaded during her term there, so we want to thank her for her involvement. And then Paul Gallegos with the gray cap. Where are you, Paul? Back over here. He was the construction inspector, and without the inspectors, we can't open anything up. So because of him, we were able to get this road in the manner that it is. So again, we want to thank you. We look forward to other projects. We have some planned in this general area. I think you'll start to see more and more activity, both with support from the mayor as well as with the both councilors and the commissioners. So we do want to thank you for being here this morning.